Nathan turns off his alarm clock, more asleep than awake. Yet having no wish to be running late this early after last time, grumbling, he sits up in bed, making the rabbit-shaped Nalini fall off his chest. He doubts she even noticed it. He leaves the bed and has to carry the still asleep rabbit demon along with him to the bathroom, since apparently that part of him refuses to wake up. He does wake up a bit more after having gotten water on his face, yet not enough to wake Nalini. Too tired to be bothered by it, he places his demon in the bathtub while he washes the last sleep dust out from his eyes.
"Hey, Nate, move your ass out. I need the bathroom more than you,"
one of his older brothers shouts and appears at the door. Nathan barely reacts, too tired to come out with any good comebacks to his least favourite brother, other than,
"You get it when I'm done."
He reaches out for the brush, but forgets all about getting his messy hair under control when he feels pain, as if someone has pierced a giant needle right into his thigh. Nalini probably feels it way worse, but it is her who got stung by his jerk brother's wasp demon. She jumps a half-metre up in the air, turns into a feral cat, and whacks the wasp right at the same time Nathan shouts furiously at his brother, "What the hell, man?" The wasp demon lands on her human's shoulder, letting him do the talking.
"I told you to move it, small fry, or Kilia's next hit will hurt a lot more."
Nathan knows that Bernard's threats are rarely just that. He might be the third youngest, but Bernard surely is the most aggressive of this pack of brothers. Still did not mean he has any right to treat him like this.
"I was here first. If you want it, get up earlier."
Nalini jumps onto his shoulder, hissing at Kelia, who looks ready to strike again.
"And you should be a little faster, changeling." "Stop calling me that, asshole," Nathan snaps.
He hates getting reminded that he is not like anyone else. Any demon will take a permanent form when a child reaches puberty, showing they become an adult and know who they are. People call it settling. It's part of growing up and will happen whether the child wants it or not. But for Nathan, well, he's now 19 and still waiting for his demon to take a permanent form.
"Then get a move on,"
Bernard snaps back. He didn't really mean to call Nathan that hated nickname, but Bernard isn't known to be the most thoughtful. There is a reason why his demon settled into a wasp. He strikes first and thinks later. In truth, Bernard is a bit jealous that Nathan's demon is still able to change forms. He often misses having his Kelia turn into bigger animals than a wasp. Before this fight can escalate, the oldest of the brothers, still living in the house, steps between the two.
"Cut it out, Bernard, or I'll promise you I'll step on Kelia."
Bernard snorts, stomps back to his room, closing the door with a loud bang. The third oldest brother, John, rolls his eyes at this before turning to Nathan.
"Ignore him. He has no idea what he's talking about."
His demon, a basilisk lizard, walks over and nudges the cat at Nathan's feet, but Nalini sends her a glare and walks away. "Yes, he does," Nathan muses, not hiding the hurt and anger over what Bernard has said, and he leaves John at the bathroom door, only finding a little glee hearing his older brother lecture the crap out from Bernard the moment he thinks Nathan is out of hearing range. Nathan walks into the kitchen and pours himself some cereal. He's not in the mood for food. He knows he will regret it later if he doesn't eat. His mother, a small, yet one of the most strong-willed people he knows, turns away from her cooking and asks, as she hands him a piece of toasted bread with butter on it, "Isn't it a bit early to get into a fight?" "Bernard's the one who started it," Nathan grumbles. He lets out a sigh and asks something he has asked himself so many times.
"Ma, why am I so different? Why hasn't Nalini settled?"
His mother strokes her favourite son through his still a bit messy hair. Of course, she loves all her sons very much, but Nathan and his father have a special place in her heart. "I honestly don't know," she tells him, turning to Nalini, who has taken shape as her favourite form, a brown wild rabbit. "Whether she settles or not, I will always love you." Nathan nods slowly, watching his demon getting nuzzled by his mother's, which has the form of a cat that looks a bit like a lion. His mother often tells him this, and how much she still loves his father. His brothers, especially Bernard, remind him that he is only half their brother, unlike his 7 other brothers. Nathan has never known his father, and even when his mother keeps saying she still loves the man, she really doesn't talk much about him. Makes him wonder why he left in the first place. But in all honesty, he doesn't really care, as he has bigger things to deal with than think about a man he's never seen in his life. Checking the clock, he realises he better leave before he runs late again. Crap, I need to go. Can't get late. He kisses his mother goodbye and leaves the house, but not before he spots Bernard and sends him a glare. Usually Bernard's words do not bother him. Usually he just picks on him only being their half-brother. But getting reminded about practically being a freak, that really bothers Nathan. He arrives at the workshop, grunting a hello to Dell, and heads straight to work. Not really in the mood for a chat. "All right, what's wrong?" Dell asks, after about a half-hour into work. The man leans up against one of the huge frames of the soon-to-be Zeppelin. "Nothing." "Boy, you haven't been your usual chatty self," Dell remarks. His demon glances to the gloomy rat lying beside Nathan and adds, "And Nalini looks like roadkill." Nalini shoots the beaver a glare for that remark, yet not in the mood to come up with a snarky comeback. Nathan lets out a sigh, not really seeing any reason not telling Dell about it. He is a very understanding man after all. Yet he does not expect anything to come out from this. From what Dell has told him, Nera settled to her form awfully early. "It's about Nalini. Why she hasn't settled." Dell blinks, looking a bit confused for a moment, which does surprise Nathan. No way has the man been unaware of Nalini constantly changing forms. Not even Dell should be that narrow-sighted. Then Dell starts to chuckle. "That's what's bothering you? Shucks. There's nothing wrong with your demon. That's just how she is." "What do you mean?" Nathan asks, rather confused, nodding to Nalini, who still lies gloomily in her rat form. "Every demon settles after puberty. Every book about demons and every person keeps saying that." "Almost every demon," Dell corrects him. "It is rare, but there do exist people whose demons keep the ability to change form. So you shouldn't worry what people say about your demon. Instead, be happy she can change form." "But a settled demon tells you who you are," Nathan argues. People keep telling him that, and from how easy he can see people's personalities in their demons' forms, he believes them. "What you're supposed to do in life, right?" Nodding to Dell's demon, "I mean, isn't that why Nara settled very quickly with you?" The other man chuckles. "True, but her form is sort of a family tradition. My father and grandfather both had beaver demons as well. But isn't that a bit boring?" Nathan blinks at him. So Dell explains by gesturing to his own demon. "People don't see me. They see my old man and my grandfather. They expect a Conager, a great inventor, nothing more. Dell explains in a somewhat sad tone, and yet he's still smiling. That does explain why Dell refuses to let anyone call him by his last name. Still, doesn't explain why the man isn't bothered being stuck in his family's shadow.
Doesn't it bother you? If it had been me, I wouldn't like it if people saw my father instead of me.
Not that anyone besides Ma knows who the heck his father is. The man chuckles, but it is not him explaining, it is his demon. It can be irritating from time to time, but the constant reminder shouldn't put a cog into our job. What Dell is trying to tell you is that you should be happy Nalini can still change forms. Turning her black eyes to Nalini, now in form as a sparrow. With Nalini not having a permanent form, people cannot judge you from her shape. They have to learn who you are by actually talking with you. Do you understand what we're trying to say? Dell asks him calmly. Well, what they're saying does make sense. He has noticed people are judging his personality a bit too hastily from what form Nalini will choose when he meets them. Yet every time people realise her form is not her permanent shape, it always makes them uneasy. Never stick around long enough to know who he is as a person. I know what you're saying, except the world doesn't really work that way. He muses to the only two, except his family, that have been around him long enough to learn who he is without looking at his demon. No one wants to know who I am because Nalini hasn't settled. It scares them. It's their loss, then, Dell says simply. Nathan cannot help but laugh, grateful for having such an understanding man as his boss. Yeah, thanks. You're welcome. And the two return back to work. After Dell has closed up shop for today, Nathan decides not to head home right away. He would like to have a few hours for himself before going back and getting into another fight with one of his brothers, mostly Bernard, about his constantly form-changing demon. He runs through the streets of Boston, not worried he might get lost. He has run through the area so many times that he practically knows every street and can easily find a shortcut home if he stays out for too long. Nalini takes shape as a pony, but only after 5 seconds has to take a smaller form. A big animal such as a horse drains her too quickly. So she chooses the form of a swallow and flies around her running human. Nathan watches her fly gracefully around, thinking of what Dell told him today. And he's happy having that man as a friend. Otherwise, he might still feel depressed about having a demon that hasn't settled. Now, with a calm mind, Nathan is not sure if he wants Nalini to settle. There are so many of her forms he likes, and he doubts he can settle with only one form. So yeah, he can see what Dell meant, and he's quite happy and lucky having a demon that hasn't settled. He heads out to the water and runs as close as he can get to it without getting into the water. Nalini uses this opportunity to change into a salmon, following her human in the water, occasionally leaping above the surface. Nathan has a lot of fun watching her, but this blissful moment breaks when he suddenly hears people laughing, and not in a good way. He stops and turns towards the shop used by many teens and young adults as their meeting ground. He spots a group of people. Some of them he recognizes as those he and his own gang of brothers have kicked the asses of when this gang has dared to move into their territory. And what do you know? These morons still haven't learned their lesson. The shop they hang around is part of the Seven Brothers territory. Nathan is smart enough to know that if this gang spots him without any of his brothers, they will certainly beat him to a pulp. If they can catch him, of course. We better leave, Nalini says, landing on his shoulder as a falcon. But instead of being the reasonable guy and listening to his demon, Nathan walks closer, as he is curious what amuses these morons that much. Back off! I'm warning you! Oh boy, Seems like someone has been caught by this pack. The gang merely laughs at their victim's misery, and the leader of them, a roguish man with a fox as his demon, steps out from the circle, grinning. "Oh, the little pup knows how to show some teeth. We can back off, but that depends on how much money you have underneath that fancy dress of yours, Toots." He grabs the victim's arm, forcing the same woman Nathan met a few days ago closer towards him, as if he wants a kiss from her. The purple-dressed young woman does look really scared, although her demon is growling at the red fox rather fearlessly. Nathan gasps, startled seeing a rich girl like her in this part of the town. Then he feels rage. How dare this guy threaten such a fine thing as her like this? "Hey!" he yells at the group, making everyone, demons included, turn to him. "What about you pick on someone your own size, moron?" He challenges them, although he's far from being their size when it comes to muscles, and the gang knows it. The leader laughs at him mockingly. "Huh, and who would that be? All I see is a pipsqueak and his freakish demon." The gang laughs at his taunt, but stops when a stone hits him square in the face. "I'm sorry, what was that?" Nathan asks, grinning to the currently down leader. He's not afraid of this guy, especially not now when he can save a girl. "Couldn't hear you from how much you suck." And he laughs mockingly at the fuming gang leader. "Get him!" "Oh, crap!" And Nathan takes the run for it. However, he cannot run too far away, since he still needs to get the rich girl out from this. He lets the gang of morons chase him around a bit, pissing them off more by throwing stones at them, and Nalini annoying their demon in her swallow form. Then, with them far enough away, Nathan speeds up and runs between the not at all coordinated gang and right back to the stunned girl. "Let's go!" He grabs her arm and pulls her away from the approaching gang. She follows, much to his relief. However, he does not get very far with her. The gang leader's demon suddenly appears out from nowhere and grabs the rabbit-shaped Nalini around the throat, forcing her to the ground. Nathan gasps, falling to the ground, struggling for air. The young woman and her demon stop, but he does not want her to see what will happen next, now that he is caught. "Go!" he gasps, waving her off. She hesitates, but after a nudge from her demon, she leaves the area and him to whatever the gang leader has in store. Nathan struggles to get back up, but it is hard with the strong sensation of getting strangled. "Cheap shot, man!" he shouts. Paralyzing someone by demon is really low in his eyes. The gang leader kicks him in the stomach, sneering. "You should have stayed out of this, freak!" Another kick. "But no, you just had to play the hero." He goes for the third, but gets interrupted by the rulers of this area. "Hey, lock!" The middle of Nathan's brothers appears from the alleyway, with his coonhound demon close behind. She is growling in sign of her human's anger. "What did I tell you about not picking on any of us?" Dean demands of the gang leader, but still has the youngest of his family trapped. "Fight one of us, and you fight us all." Locke's demon almost lets go of Nalini when two more of the gang of brothers appear beside Dean. The second youngest, with a spotted turtle in a side bag, crosses his arms, with Bernard cracking his fists in a sign he is more than ready to fight. His wasp demon flicks her wings with the same eagerness for a fight. Locke will have no trouble fighting one of them, especially not the youngest, but against the whole gang, it's a death wish. If he was alone, that is, and he's not going to let this freak off the hook for letting that girl get away. The other gang leader smirks, just as his own pack appears. "I could say the same for you. Get them!" Locke's gang attacks the three older brothers, keeping them busy from saving the youngest of the gang. Now, where was I? But Nathan and his demon did not have in mind being the weakling that needs saving by his older brothers. Nalini changes into a big lizard, and although still held around the throat, she can at least now get free by whacking the fox over the face with her tail. The fox lets go with a startled yelp, releasing Nathan from his paralysis and Nathan kicks Locke right in the leg. He could have broken it if he had been at full strength, but he's still recovering from the demon strangulation. The red-headed man shouts in pain, however quickly recovers and punches Nathan right in the head, almost knocking him out. Stunned and very much in pain, Nathan does not have the time to recover and get away from the upcoming kick. Didn't have to, for Bernard tackles Locke down and punches the red-headed hard in the stomach. Nathan recovers and joins his brothers fighting the opposite gang. Like Locke's group, the brothers do not have much unity or tactic, other than punch or kick everything not on their side. Only to aid one another if they really needed it. Nathan runs over to one of the boys of the other gang and tackles him, stunning that one long enough for Dean to punch him in the head, knocking that person to the ground. One by one, the gang of Locke have gotten enough and flee the area. The pack of brothers shouts after the fleeing people that they better not see them in the area again, before Ken turns to Nathan and whacks the youngest over the head. "What the hell, man?" Nathan demands, caressing the now also sour back of his head. Ken shoots him a hard look. "That's for making Mom worry, you little shit." Turning to Bernard, who says, "She would have called the police if John hadn't stopped her." Nathan freezes for a moment. He didn't realise he had been gone for that long. Glancing to the fourth oldest of his brothers, and probably also the one who tracked him thanks to his demon's keen sense of smell. "How long have I been gone?" "About 5 hours. You missed dinner 2 hours ago," Dean replies with crossed arms. He seems more relieved than angry that they found their youngest brother picking fights with one of the local gangs. "What the hell kept you this long?" Bernard asks. He sounds angry. Then again, he always does around Nathan. "None of your business," Nathan retorts, shooting a glare to Ken, forcefully checking his swelling eye. He slaps Ken's hand away. "I'm fine. It's just a bruise. Ah, that hurts," he cries when Ken pokes him hard on the stomach. Nathan shoots the 3 others a death glare when they start laughing. "Shut up!" Ken crosses his arms, not amused by this one bit. "That's what you get fighting Locke and his goons without backup, Nate. Be a little more stupid next time." Spotted Turtle Demon shoots the wildcat-shaped Nalini a disappointed look, making her wince in embarrassment. "Yeah, I mean, Locke is not really that much of a threat." Bernard grins at Nathan's torment. He nudges Ken in the side. "He's slower than you in the morning." Ken pushes him away for that remark, completely ignoring the other's laughter. Every one of the brothers knows that if they do not get into the bathroom before Ken, they might as well give up, as Ken can spend a full hour in the bathroom and will not speed up for anyone. There is a reason why his demon is a spotted turtle. That, and he can take hits like no other. Nathan and the other of his brothers often consider him the defence of the pack, as he can get beaten by 4 and still shake it off like it was nothing. Nathan and his demon send the third youngest a glare. "His gang had caught a girl, all right?" Crossing his arms with a very amusing scowl on his face, which does not really help him get more respect from the older brothers. "Who knows what that bastard would have done if I hadn't stepped in?" "All right, that makes so much more sense why the fastest of them got caught by Locke." Bernard leans up against the nearby wall, his demon for once calm. "Was she pretty?" he asks with a goofy smile on his face. Nathan grins. "Yeah, prettiest thing I ever laid my eyes on." "So how did she thank you? A little one-on-one?" Bernard winks, grinning widely, when Ken starts laughing loudly, while Dean rolls his eyes, while his coonhound demon hides her face with a paw. No, I told her to run when Locke caught me," Nathan explains, angry and embarrassed by what Bernard has said. But he's mostly disappointed. Not because he didn't get the so-called one-on-one, as Bernard so fancily calls it. He's disappointed he couldn't speak with her. Maybe get a little thanks for his noble sacrifice? "How did Locke catch you anyway?" Dean asks, both worried and confused how the youngest but fastest of this pack got caught by someone like Locke. That guy is slow even for his standards. "His freaking demon caught Nalini. Bit around the throat hard enough I could hardly breathe." Bernard whistles. "Dang, that's low even for him." and 3 others nod in agreement. After a moment of silence, Ken breaks it with, "We'd better get home before Ma throws a fit her little baby hasn't gotten home." "Shut up! I'm not a baby!" Nathan retorts angrily and attacks Ken, who easily throws him off. Bernard and Dean merely laugh at Nathan's whiny behaviour, and they slowly head back home with the satisfaction they both found their brother, so their mother doesn't have to tear up the city just to find her little baby, and also got the chance to remind Locke and his gang that this part of the city is their turf. They leave the alleyway. No one of them sees a figure dressed in a blue suit with a ski mask covering most of his face appear out from thin air behind them. The person watches the gang of brothers for a moment before he disappears once again, leaving no trace of being there in the first place.
We are the heroes of our time, but we're dancing with the demons.